readers, welcome back. I am once again surrounded by stacks of books. You can't see them, but believe me, they're here. Which means that today is another recommendation video, and this time it is for Team Morella.
Have you ever been told you're different, odd, or simply don't belong? In a world full of normies, do you feel like an outcast? Me too. But I'm pleased to tell you there's a very special place for people like us. Nevermore Academy.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Morella is a team in Nevermoreathon that you can join. Nevermoreathon is a readathon I host in the full month of August, just to celebrate Wednesday Season 2. If you're interested, you can definitely still participate, and I will leave the announcement video down below so you get the full scoop of what's going on here. Today we're talking about Team Morella and their bingo board. And the first prompt on their bingo board is Purple Book. I did not do this. Oh, jeez. Alright, got it. First up is What Would Wednesday Do? This is a very cute little book with a lot of snippets of how Wednesday would tackle certain situations. You know, handling difficult family members, handling friendships, work, stuff like that, music. And then you get some quotes from the Addams family and Wednesday. I really enjoyed it. It was really cute. It's a very fast read. It's a gimmicky book, but look, it's super cute. I also have Tornhatch by T. Kingfisher in this stack. This is also a very small book, so would work. If your group book is Sorceress Comes to Call, also by T. Kingfisher, if you already read it, it doesn't count. However, you're allowed to read another T. Kingfisher book, so that could be helpful too. This obviously has a purple cover. And this is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but a darker one. T. Kingfisher does dark fairy tale retellings and horror. And I love both. I gave this 5 stars. Then Equal Rights by Terry Pratchett in this very pretty edition is totally purple. I have started this book, but it was a bit slow going for me. However, the Witches series and the More series have been loved the most by Discworld. And I think I just need an audiobook of this, because there are not really any chapters in it. People have told me I would like it. Apparently there are sassy witches in it, which I'm here for. Then The Lost Wonderland Diaries by J. Scott Savage is also purple. Gave this book 5 stars too. This is a Alice in Wonderland retelling. I love this. It's a middle grade, so it reads fast, but it was really good. In this, the kids find diaries of Carol Lewis, who actually has been to Wonderland. So they go to Wonderland, and obviously things go away, right? That's Wonderland, that's how it works. But it was a really good one. Definitely one of my favorite middle grade Alice in Wonderland retellings I've read. Oh, and since this theme is mostly based on fantasy, I have tried to get a lot of fantasy recs in there. We have had a lot of horror recs in the other videos, so I think that's a good shout. But if you want more horror, check out the other recommendation videos. You might pick up books there for Morella too, or any other team for that matter. Frankenstein is also purple. And this is a Frankenstein and Rumpelstiltskin retelling mixed in one. It is a middle grade. It has very large text, so it's gonna read very fast. But it looks incredibly cute. There are gorgeous illustrations anywhere. I haven't read this one yet. I really want to. I will. It's spooky season. Then a middle grade horror is Shadowhall Academy, The Whispering Halls by Phil Hikes. This is purple and blue. I love Phil Hikes. Phil Hikes is my favorite spooky middle grade author. Any book by him is great. Gave it 5 stars. And this is about Lillian Jones, and she goes to an English boarding school. It's in a very old mansion or a castle. Like, it's extremely big, and it's built in the Gothic era. And this is a ghost story. Really enjoyed it. Then we have My Imaginary Mary. I got this one from Josephine. Look how stunning it is. Also, this is the naked hardback, but then it doesn't count for purple, so. And Pink Sprayed Edges. This is obviously a Frankenstein retelling. I've really enjoyed this one. And you followed 3 POVs in this one. And Mary may have inherited the brilliant mind of her late mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, but she lives a drab life above her father's bookstore, waiting for an idea that will inspire a work worthy of her parentage and impress her recklessly handsome and super secret beau, Percy Shelley. It's set in the old days. It just was really good. I can't explain to you, but it's really good. I also read I Am Wednesday. This is mostly purple. This is just a very cute golden little book. It is it's a children's book, but it's gorgeously illustrated, and it was super cute. I used it for book like a hug for the blackheads, so I would recommend. Then I have the Double Trouble Society by Carrie Hope Fletcher. We're still in a purple recommendation, so you know. This is a witch book, a middle grade, about 2 friends who find out that their neighbor is actually a witch. It's a new neighbor. And it's so good. It's so cozy. And it's stunning. Then I have The Worst Witch by Jill Murphy. My edition is purple. It's more on the blue side of purple, but it's still purple. This is another cute middle grade witch story about Mildred Hubble, who isn't great at being a witch, but she tries really hard, and it's cute. And that were all the purple books. Let me put out the washer. Second. Next up on the board is the prompt Wheel of Unfortune. I think this is the most wrongly interpreted prompt. I'm sorry. I thought it would be fun to call it the Wheel of Unfortune instead of the Wheel of Fortune, just because we have a gloomy theme going on. But now a lot of people think that they need to put books on there that they don't want to read, and please no. Please don't do that. This is gonna be fun. It is supposed to be fun. So I would like you to put books on the spinning wheel that you would want to read. Obviously, if there are books on there, you know, that if you have books on your shelves that you want to get to, but you're kind of putting up, you can put those on. But it is, you know, supposed to be books that you enjoy reading. You can just put all the books on your TBR on there, spin the wheel, and see what you need to read first. I have seen people use the wheel to spin where they need to read the book instead of what they're gonna read. That is also fine. If you want to spin a wheel for every reading session that you read that book, and you spin how you need to read it, if it's just an audiobook or not, or if you need to read outside or inside or whatever, or for how long you need to read, that is also fine. It is just a randomized prompt because every team has a randomized book prompt in their board. But I can't give you recommendations for this because you need to put books on there that you want to read. Please put books on there that you want to read. Then it's Edgar Allan Poe. You can obviously read any original Poe short story or poem. Every short story or poem counts as one, so you only need to read one of them. And you can read multiple, obviously, but then it counts as multiple books and you can use different prompts every single time. I recommend The House of Usher. That is my favorite story. I myself will be reading William Wilson. Because that is one of the scary stories I haven't read yet. Then I keep saying this with every team, but what moves to that? By T. Kingfisher is an Edgar Allan Poe retelling. It's the House of Usher retelling, actually. Absolutely loved it. This is a T Kingfisher, so if you have read Sorceress Comes to Call, you can count one other T Kingfisher as your group book, so this would count for that. It is also a small book, and it's really good. Then I will be reading Edgar and Allan Poe, The Misadventures. The first book is A Telltale Start. And this is about the twins Edgar and Allan, and their parents have died. And apparently they're now in danger themselves. And I also have the Raven remix. And this is a remix of all, or not of all, but this is a remix of a lot of Edgar Allan Poe stories, and it's all told in verse. So I'm excited about that one. Next up on the stack is Found Family. We have The House of the Edge of Magic. This is about Nina, and she's an orphan, and she pickpockets people. And one day she pickpockets something that actually turns into a magical house. And that is also where she finds her found family. But the house is in trouble, so there is a whole adventure going on there. Then we have Stitch by Pedro Kenny. This is a Frankenstein retelling. This is my favorite middle grade Frankenstein retelling. Absolutely loved it. This is about Stitch, who is brought to life. Sam and his friend Henry, who is also brought to life. And this book does the whole what is actually a monster and who is actually a monster conversation so well. And Stitch and Henry are going to find found family. It's really wholesome, really cute, really well done. Highly recommend this one. Then we have the Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell. And this is about Stella, who is adopted. So that is kind of found family. She also finds found family in the Polar Bear Explorers Club. It's super adorable. It is, it's a fantasy book. This is a diverse book. It's super cute. I gave them all 5 stars. I would highly recommend any of this series. And the third book in the series is Purple. We're coming back to that later. Then I just finished Summer in Orcus, again by T. Kingfisher. Because you know the reason by now, there are many T. Kingfishers on this book. This is a portal fantasy that is extremely nonsensical. If you like Alice in Wonderland or Narnia, you're gonna love this. This is about Summer, and she's an 11-year-old girl. She's not allowed to do anything from her mom. And one day she spots the Baba Yaga house, and she goes there, and Baba Yaga sends her on an adventure to another world. Without her knowing, really. So she's trying to figure out what's going on in that world, where she is, who to trust, and what to do there. And she finds friends along the way that are kind of becoming her family. And it's wholesome as hell. Next up is a book with a competition. And I know Lumberjanes has a competition about making friendship bracelets. I'm just not sure if it is in the first or in the third comic. It looks to be in the first. Also, Nevermore by Jessica Townsend Woodwork. I love this series. This is about Morgan Grow. And she's supposed to die, but instead she is shipped away to a magical island where she has an extremely powerful magical power. And she needs to do trials to get in the school. Apparently the 4th book in the series that has just come out also has trials / competition in there. So that would work. Every group has this. Every team has this prompt. So I've talked already about it twice now. So if you need more Cask of Amontillado, we have discussed another vampire book with competition. And then in the Kid and the Pendulum, I had some more that I cannot think of right now. Next up is buddyread, the most practical would-be A Sorcerer Comes to Call. This is the group book of your team. It is written by T. Kingfisher. I'm currently reading it, and it's about Cordelia and her mom. And her mom is a sorceress, and she is a powerful one at that. And she uses her powers on Cordelia. They're going through a bit of a hard time, so the mom decides to use their powers on other people to get money. basically. That's how far I'm in. I'm only 50 pages in, so no spoilers there. This would be the easiest one. We also have My Darling Dreadful Thing, which is the overall group book. There will be a live show for this at the end of the month. It will be the Saturday. I believe that is the 30th of August. We will be discussing it then. But it's by Johanna van Veen. It's a ghost story. Very excited about it. Next up is small books. We already talked about quite a few. The Shadow Hall Academy, The Whispering Walls would definitely count as a small book. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher would count as a small book. Summer in Orcus, also by T. Kingfisher, would count as a small book. As does The Raven Remix. It is basically a book under 300 pages. And I found some more, which is Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. This is a very wholesome book. It has found family in it, so it would work for that. They're novellas, so they're short. It is a fantasy, it's a portal fantasy, and some are very fairy tale-esque and some are dark. So it depends on which book you are. What kind of prompts it would fulfill. But at least it does small book. And then The Witch Guides of Cooking with Children by Keith McGowan would also count. And this is a Hansel and Gretel retelling that I enjoyed so much. Especially the entries of the witch, where she describes in detail how she is actually cooking the children. And yes, that's a middle grade book. It's so great when you prepare this text beforehand. So now you don't know which tag is what prompt anymore. You have to look for it every single time. Next up is a book with an animal in it though. The Summer of Orcus would definitely work for this. But also Grave Books, or Night Books is the first one. Night Books by J.A. White would work for this. It has a cat in it. Then The Secret Animal Society by Luke Gage would work for this. I love this book. Kate recommended it to me. And this is about Edith and her uncles receive a call for help. And they go to the wilderness to save some animals. And there are many magical and mythological animals in this. It's really good. Then Witch Parks Futures Wyvern. It's a really cool witchy book. It's a middle grade. There's a magical house in it. There are sassy characters in it. It is definitely about friendship and bonding. I wouldn't say specifically found family. It's really good though. Then The Thief Who Sung Storms by Sophie Anderson is another fantasy middle grade book. And this is about the island of Morovia, and there are many, many birds in this. There is a war in this as well. And then The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson is another middle grade fantasy book. This is a portal fantasy. I enjoyed this a tiny bit more than this one because I don't really like war stories, but this was a good one. But this is a portal fantasy and I love portal fantasies. And this is, Sophie Anderson does this really well, where she takes myths and legends from other cultures, specifically a Slavic culture. And this is one of them. And as you can see, there's already a fox on the cover. She will encounter many animals. Then we have a book that has been on your TBR for a while. Unfortunately, I don't know what books are on your TBR for a while. If it is over 3 months, I would say it count. So any books that you have bought 3 months ago or longer would count for this. Next up is fantasy. There have been many fantasy books in this. So I don't think I need to re-show them all to you again. Favorite trope. I'm sorry, I don't know what your personal favorite trope is. So I can't recommend you stuff. If any of these have, your favorite trope. Like, if your favorite trope is portal fantasy, I think you're good here. Same for witches. Or Frankenstein retellings for that matter. Can you see what mine are? But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have recommendations for this prompt. But please pick a book that you're likely to enjoy because it has similar things to books you have enjoyed. And then we have in a series. And I try to do something extra. And I have picked every sequel in a series that was purple. So the series Mina and the Undead. It starts with Mina and the Undead by Amy McCall. But the second book is purple, and that's Mina and the Slayers. I think both of these you could use on your board. It is set in New Orleans. It's vampires in nowadays. It's about friendships and surviving. Also about trouble in the family. We are solving murders here. It is a very fun vampire series. Then in the series Splinter, the second book is Unhinged and it is purple. This is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. It's YA. It does have the love triangle trope that I normally hate, but in this I could stand it. I loved this series. It reads so fast. It is a very typical YA. But I think the Alice in Wonderland retelling parts are done so well. I enjoyed this thoroughly. And the second book is purple. Then, in the Land of Stories series, the second book is again purple. It's a second book thing, isn't it? And it's The Enchantress Returns by Chris Culver. This is apparently a Sleeping Beauty retelling. But the first one is an overall fairy tale retelling where two kids stumble through a fairy tale book in the fairy tale forest and have all kinds of adventures. So I really enjoyed the first one. I still have to read the second though. And then the third book in the Polar Bear Explorers Club is purple and it's on Black Ice Bridge. I love this series. It's a polar fantasy. It's about a group of kids that become really close friends through all the adventures they go on. And then in the Starfall series by Dominique Villente, the second book is again purple. I love this series. This series reminds me the most of Wizard of Oz, where we follow this one girl going through a journey and finding a lot of friends on the way. And Starfall feels exactly like that, but then it is a witch that is going on a journey. I love this so much. So that were all the series on my shelf that had purple sequels. And luckily, most of them are just the second book. Most of them are fantasy, so you could use also for the fantasy trope, you know, if you still need to read the first book or whatever. And then Morella is also blessed with the manga comic / graphic novel prompt. So any of those three would count. I highly recommend Garlic and the Vampire by Brie Paulson. This is so cute. This is fall in a book. Look at this. This has to be one of, if not the favorite graphic novel. This is about a town of vegetable people. I have talked about this many times now in these recommendation videos. And a new person moves in and they kind of assume he's a vampire and they get scared by it. So they send Garlic, the most ancient bulb of all, to go deal with the vampire. Then we have Lumberjanes. I love this series. And it has competition in it. It has friendship in it. It is a diverse book. There are some elements from fairy tales in here. This specific one is the third volume and it has dinos in it. There's a lot going on in these books, so they would definitely count for small book, for comic, as well as fantasy. Then we have Rapunzel versus Frankenstein, which is another comic I enjoy. This is a Frankenstein / Rapunzel mixture retelling, and I enjoyed it. Then we have The Fireflight Apprentice by Brie Paulson. This is set in the same world as Garlic and the Vampire, but it's completely different. This is after a bloody war. And this is about Ada, who is caring for her younger sister, Safi. But Safi is developing magical powers. And that basically means that she has to learn from the king's people, and they are going to force her to be in the army when she has learned. I really enjoyed this. Again, gorgeous artwork. These are also diverse books. They're obviously small. They're fantasy. So they work for a lot of things for you guys. Then I have Summer Fam by Violet Shankarim. I just recently read this for Camp Enchanted. Really enjoyed it. This is about Maya, who thinks she's going to culinary camp, but accidentally ends up in a vampire camp. She is making friends there along the way. It is super wholesome. And the artwork is cute. There you go. Then we have Unfamiliar, which is a witchy graphic novel. And I know there is a part 2, but I haven't gotten that yet. And this is about Planchette, a lonely young kitchen witch. And she is moving to a witch town because she has been bullied that she's different. And she thinks that moving to a witch town where everybody is witches is gonna fix it. And she does make friends. This is definitely about girlhood and witches. So it is fantasy and super cute. Then I also have Fangs by Sarah Anderson. I haven't read this yet, but I heard nothing but great things. The artwork is stunning. And this is about a vampire and a werewolf who fall in love. And then my favorite comic is I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young. This is about Gertrude, and she falls down a hole and ends up in fairyland. And all the comics are basically about her trying to find her way back home. And Gertrude is not your average. She is extremely violent. But the artwork is cute, violent, and gorgeous at the same time. This gives Alice in Wonderland vibes. It gives fairy tale vibes. It gives Wizard of Oz. It's a mix of everything. I love the artwork in this. I love the story. So I highly recommend I Hate Fairyland. And then we have Strong Female Lead. For this I got Magic in Gothic by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. This is about Naomi, and she gets a letter from her cousin that she is sick and unwell and it's not going well. So she goes to the mansion there, and the fiance of her cousin, or her newly husband, tells her that she can't see her cousin. Things are going on. There are mushrooms involved in this, so I found this a very Morella pick. This is a Gothic book. I really enjoyed it. And it has a female lead. We also have Mary's Monster by Lita Judge. This is the life of Mary Shelley. And you can just tell that in this book, the writer has done a lot of research on Mary Shelley's life. So it was very informative, and the art is gorgeous in this book. The art really sets the tone. And all pages are like that. Mostly art, a little bit of text. Absolutely loved it, but it was very informative, and the writer really did a lot of research on Mary Shelley's life. So if you're interested, this is a really good one. Then we have Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. This is probably the most spooky read I have read, but this is not spooky to a lot of people. But to me it is, because this is about Farah, and she has to go home to her childhood house that her serial killer father has built. And you see flashbacks from Sarah and her father when she was a youth, and how he interacts with Sarah. Well, we know he is a serial killer, is extremely creepy to me. I find manipulative men that have a very dark side and then can act really sweet on the other hand, extremely dangerous and terrifying. So that's why this book is so extremely scary to me. But there's a lot going on in this house, and Farah has to take care of her sick mother that she doesn't have a great bond with either way. Really enjoyed this. Then we have How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackie. And I don't remember the name, and I'm not sure if we ever got the name of the main character, but she killed several people. Some brutally, others calmly, and yet are currently languish in jail for a murder she did not commit. So that is very interesting. Then we have Anatomy, a love story by Sanna Swartz. I really enjoyed it. This is a Gothic book about a woman who wants to be a surgeon when she is not allowed in that time period. And she makes the board agree that she can take her exams, but she's not allowed to take the classes. So she has to work with a gravedigger to give her bodies to practice for the exams. Then we have Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. This is about Signa, who was orphaned as a baby, and she has been taken in by this very rich family. And she goes hopping from family to family because everyone who adopts her and cares more about her money than cares about her dies. So she kind of has a bond with that. There is a romance going on. There is another guy involved. She has to make some choices. Then we have Good versus Evil. And I have Hocus Pocus in the all new sequel for you. The first book in this is the first original Hocus Pocus movie. And then the all new sequel is a sequel to that movie that I wish was the actual Hocus Pocus 2 movie. Because it is way better than the Hocus Pocus 2 movie. But obviously we have kids battling the evil witches. So it's Good versus Evil. It has witches, it is fantastical. And it's a really fun read. Then we have The Crowns of Crosswald. This is a series about Ivy. And Ivy, it is the chosen one trope. Ivy has magical powers and she has to battle the great evil. It is all set on a magical school. So if you like Harry Potter but you don't want to support that author anymore, this is a very good alternative. And then I put Frankenstein on the list. I just have to, guys. Everywhere I can put Frankenstein, I will. Because Frankenstein obviously has the whole conversation of what is good, what is evil, what makes a monster, and who is the monster? When are you evil? So I think that would count. And on that address, I also got Rules for Vampire Ghostbite back. This is the second book. And this is by Alex Fawkes. And in this we follow Leo. And Leo has a ghost friend. But one of the rules for vampires is don't talk to ghosts. The vampires and the ghosts have been in war for centuries. And this, specifically the second book, really talks about why. Why do we think as vampires that ghosts are the big evil? And why as ghosts do we think the vampires are the big evil? Whereas, you know, it has been centuries ago that we fought a war. So I thought that was very interesting. So I would count it. And then we're already at the last prompt, and it's Gloomy book. Well, Mary's Monster we discussed earlier would definitely count. Mexican Gothic that we discussed earlier would definitely count. Depending on which book you read in the Every Heart of a Doorway series, it can count. Or What Moves the Dead would definitely count. We have also talked about the Shadow Hall Academy. It would count. On that note, Evelyn Jones, also by Phil Hikes, is a middle grade small book that is about Evelyn Jones and she gets haunted by a ghost. It is gloomy, it is set in fall, there are rainstorms everywhere, it is gorgeous. The second book is also very gloomy and it's about witches. And then also Crystal Sutherland's House of Hollow. This is a very weird but very eerie and gloomy book about three sisters who went missing, then months later or years later pop back in life out of nowhere, have no memory what happening. And we just follow them in life and kind of figure out what happened along the way. It is very strange, very eerie. And that's it. That were all the recommendations for Team Morella. As usual, if you have recommendations for Team Morella, please leave them down below. Let's make this a video that is very informative and a great source For any recommendations for any prompt, please leave down for which prompt it would count, the book title and the author, so we can Google it and see if we can find it for ourselves if we want to. If you like this video, please like, subscribe if you want to see more chaos from me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!